All right, welcome back to 3D Gen Toolkit as we make a biped character. And so we're just continuing, moving on with the skeleton process. And so I just brought up my rigging shelf. First off, open the file, sphere biped, and then go to your rigging shelf. And then also, if you bring up the rigging module as well. So then we get all these, we get skeleton, skin, deform, constrain, control. So we get all those. And we are still using the Comet tools as well. So my Comet tools are not loading for me for some reason. So I'm just going to go to source and just make sure those are being loaded. So go to my scripts folder and then go to Comet menu, and then that shows up right here in my, right there. So what I like to do for this as well, the locators, we don't really need this anymore. So I'm just gonna actually hide this. So if you hold down Control H, that will hide that group, and you see that it turns light gray, just means that it's hidden. And so from here, what I like to go through and do, and you'll remember where we left off, we did not connect the spine. So the spine goes all the way up to the head, and then the clavicle goes all the way down to the fingers, and then the leg goes all the way down to the end of the toe. And then the hips and the root are actually separate objects right now, and they're just basically in they're in world space. So you can see Z is forward, X is going to be positive X is going to be to the left of the character, screen right, and then Y is up. And that's also going to be the case with these, with the hips as well. And that's, we want those to be that way. So what I like to do is go and select the top leg, and if you go to select hierarchy, that will grab all those joints, and then go to the Comet menu, and then if we go to joints hierarchy, and then go to Comet joint orient. Okay, Mike's joint orient tool is actually pretty handy, and you can actually see what this looks like. So I like to turn on show axis just so I can see exactly what's going on here. Okay, so the aim, I want the aim to go down the X, okay? And then the up axis is going to be Y, which is what we have. The up is Y in Maya. So we want the Y going up and the X going down. And so first thing, world up is make sure that's in Y. And if you hit orient joints, that should place all those joints exactly how they're all going that way. So one thing that I'm noticing here is this joint right here. So if you tweak this, you can actually go and tweak this by small increments. So I want to rotate in Y. So I'm going to just say 0.1, and then just, actually it's not doing what I want there. Let's see. Yeah, it just looks like it's going, it's got a weird angle, but I want this, I'm just going to try and do, let's try and reverse that. Okay, so the Z should be going, and this one, we want this one the same way. So I'm going to actually unreverse this and make that so it's turning that way. But what I want to do is actually unparent this and unparent this one as well, the knee from the top leg. And so with this leg, I'm going to just rotate this just so it's more, so Y is facing straight out like that, and X is going down the joint. And the same here, I want this knee to be, just look better here. So if I go and parent this, and go here again, and parent, so now that looks like it's correct. So if I select hierarchy on this, and if I rotate, let's say in Z, I'm going to get this nice curl to the leg, just kind of what I want. And then for this next one, I'm going to select the spine and do another select hierarchy, and then turn on show axis just so I can see how that is going. And I want the actual X, or actually let's keep this with Y going up, Z forward, kind of how we have it right now currently. That will be fine. And then let's see here. So this guy, I want to select the clavicle and select hierarchy on that one, show the axes. And these ones should be all X down the joint with Y being up. And this looks correct. X is all going down the joint properly, how I like it, how I want it. So one way, I just will select hierarchy on that, and then just so the rotations look correct, which they do. All right. So now we can actually select all of our joints and then select hierarchy just to make sure we get all of them, and hide axis. All right. All right, so now if we grab the left leg and go to the hips and parent, and then hips to root and parent, and then we want to grab spine 0, 1, go to the root and parent, and then we'll go from the clavicle and then to this chest joint and parent. Okay, so now we have those all set. If you hold down the shift button and click on the plus, it will actually expand everything that we have. So for now, we're going to just use the mirror tool, which is actually really good. So we'll select the left clavicle and we'll select the left leg, and we will go to skeleton and then mirror joints and the option box. Okay, so we're going to mirror behavior and along the YZ plane. So Y being up, Z being forward. So we're going to go, this is the plane that we're going to be crossing. And then we want to change this to L underscore, and then change replace to R underscore. So now anything that we have selected going the opposite way, it should rename to right. And so we'll mirror that just to see. Let's see. Let's do it one at a time. So we'll grab the left clavicle and mirror. And that looks like it named it properly. If you hold down the shift button and the plus, you can see all those are named properly. And then so the left leg, and then if you hit G, that will mirror that one going down the right leg, and that looks right. All right, so we have a full skeleton, and so let's save our file. So we just have our sphere biped. Alrighty, so now we have this skeleton system built in on this character, and so what we want to do is throw on a simple skinning. So what we want to also do is grab the root and select hierarchy again, and then come over to the layers tab and go to the far right button, and we'll just rename this one to joints or skeleton. Let's call it skeleton, and then save. And then we can actually just leave that. That's how we want that. And so from here, if you just minus this root joint, just to keep this clean in your outliner. And then from here, what we want to do is actually skin these joints to the mesh. Okay, so what we want to do is actually just select the root and then the biped mesh character. And if we go to skin, bind skin, option box. Okay, so with the option box, so I usually do selected joints. So with this, I'm going to, actually I'm going to just close this. And then from the root, I'm going to select hierarchy and then select the biped character mesh again. Then go to skin, bind skin, option box. And so we're going to bind to the selected joints, all the joints that have been selected. And the bind method, the geodesic voxel, actually does a really good job. It's pretty clean. And then also dual quaternions, which is, you can do classic linear, which is fine. I find that this does a pretty good job. The skinning method actually skins pretty smooth. We're still going to go over skinning and how to properly get a good skin. And so the normalize, we'll leave that at interactive, and the weight distribution at distance. I don't allow multiple bind poses. Usually I go with the one single bind pose that our character is using. And then max influences set to 4, which is pretty common for Unity. And then also make sure that maintain max influences is checked. And then I uncheck remove unused influences, just because sometimes it does some weird stuff, and I don't really like the way that works. So, and then follow off of 0.20 resolution of 256. And then this is not checked as well, validate voxel state. I don't really need to validate it. It does a pretty decent job. So from here, if we say bind skin, and then we let it do its work for a second. And now if we test this by just selecting an arm, say, it does a pretty good job, honestly. Like, it tries to find closest. It does pretty good job. I find that, and I'm just selecting and then going to the rotate, which is the E key. And then from here, we can actually, so you see that elbow, it actually did a pretty good, elbows and shoulders. Usually not a very good job, the old fashioned way, but the geodesic voxel does a really pretty clean job on the skinning. So if you select the hand and then hit E, and then we can test the hand. Even the hand looks okay. I mean, there's some weirdness going on right here, but we can fix that. And then I'm just Control-Zing just to make sure that all these joints are kind of in the place that where we have them. If it gets all out, like say you do like a bunch of different stuff and you're like, oh man, my bind pose, I don't have my bind pose anymore. So if you select the root joint and then go to skin, go to bind pose, there we go. It puts him back in the bind pose where we started at. And you can see from the leg as well. So the leg did a pretty good job, honestly. I mean, our object is pretty low, but you can see that this does pretty fancy job for just skinning this character. So I'm just going to go back to root and skin, go to bind pose just to make sure. Alrighty, so one way to check this too is to go to the head and just, yeah, the head's not working exactly how we want it, so we're gonna have to fix that. The neck's okay. Chest, yeah, it's not bad. Just like to go through here, just double check, see what needs to be kind of fixed. I usually go through and clean everything anyway. So, all right, so we have a skinned character, and let's do a file save. And from here, we're going to add control objects, and we'll add some IK to the foot. I'm not going to do an IK system or stretchy or bendy or anything like that. You can find that on the internet for free. I teach it in my course that I'm going to be offering as well under 3D Gen Toolkit. So that's going to, I'll be able to go a little bit more in depth. Let's move to the next part, and we'll catch you there. Thanks.